At the edge of her pristine lawn, Linda Harper stood like a general, her phone raised like a weapon poised to strike. The dawn light glinted off the screen, casting her face in a ghostly glow, as if she were shrouded in icy fog. My skin crawled, a knot tightening in my chest. Each step she took was a silent declaration of war, a challenge hanging in the crisp morning air. I held my tongue, locking eyes with her, because if Linda thought she could dictate terms to me, she clearly hadn't checked who wrote the rulebook. This wasn't just a game, Anna Maria, it was a fight, and it would never be simple again. I'm Michael Torres, 37, a former real estate attorney who traded courtroom battles for a quiet life at an insurance firm downtown. My wife, Emily, and our 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, moved to Meadowview, a suburban haven, hoping for peace. But that dream crumbled when we crossed paths with Linda Harper, 42, the HOA president and self-appointed guardian of community standards. At first, I kept my distance, but Linda wasn't someone you could sidestep. Soon, our tranquil life became a war I never signed up for. It all started last spring when Emily planted a modest vegetable garden in our backyard. HOA rules required approval for landscaping changes, but we figured a few tomato plants and some kale wouldn't ruffle feathers. We were dead wrong. The garden flourished, with cherry tomatoes ripening and greens feeding our family dinners. Then, one Saturday morning, Linda marched to our door, clipboard in hand, her smile sharp as a blade. "We need to discuss your unauthorized garden," she said, citing HOA bylaw 4.2. I explained it was just for personal use, nothing flashy, but she demanded a formal application and a $200 fee. When I called the fee excessive, her smile vanished. "Rules are rules, Mr. Torres. If you don't like them, move." Her tone sent my pulse racing, but I stayed calm. "Linda, it's just vegetables. Can't we work this out?" She shook her head. "No exceptions." A week later, a certified letter arrived, slapping us with a $500 fine for ongoing violations. Linda had been busy, whispering to neighbors that we were rule-breaking troublemakers. When I called to protest, her voice oozed fake sympathy. "Rules benefit everyone, Michael. Exceptions breed chaos." I pointed out other gardens in the neighborhood, but she dismissed them coldly. "Those will be dealt with. Right now, it's your violation." That was just the beginning. Linda launched a relentless campaign, photographing our house daily, snapping everything from our mailbox angle to Sophie's toys. When Sophie left her bike in the driveway, Linda hit us with a $300 fine, claiming it blocked pedestrian paths. I argued our driveway was private property, but she cited an obscure sightline obstruction rule. "A child's bike could endanger drivers," she said, her condescension making my fists clench. Then came the bombshell. Linda contacted my insurance company, alleging our garden hid foundation damage. The insurer called, baffled by her baseless claims. Her audacity was staggering, but I realized Linda played dirty. Emily grew anxious under the constant surveillance. "I feel trapped in our own home," she confessed one night as Sophie played outside. The neighborhood turned against us. Neighbors who'd been friendly for 2 years avoided us. Mrs. Larson, who once let Sophie pet her cat, now crossed the street. Sophie's 8th birthday party was a heartbreak. Only 3 families showed up, down from 12 the year before. "Where are my friends, Daddy?" Sophie asked, and I fumbled excuses about busy schedules. She started wondering if we were bad people when a friend's mom banned playdates. My heart ached explaining adult grudges to a child. One evening, Linda's husband, Greg Harper, approached me while walking his dog. Glancing nervously, he whispered, "I'm sorry, Michael." Linda gets intense. She thinks she's protecting Meadowview. I appreciated his candor, but intense barely covered her vendetta. "Greg, this is beyond reasonable," I said. He nodded, defeated. "I know." Tensions peaked when Linda called an emergency HOA meeting, renting the community center for a theatrical takedown. Her PowerPoint, preserving Meadowview standards, featured blown-up photos of our garden, red arrows marking violations, even aerial shots from her window. "If we don't act, anyone can do whatever they want," she declared, gesturing at our tomatoes like they were a crime scene. Neighbors, coached by Linda, spoke of precedents and property values. It felt like a kangaroo court. When Linda demanded I address my flagrant disregard, I stood, scanning the room of neighbors I'd helped over the years. Then I locked eyes with her. I know the HOA rules well, I said, my voice steady. I used to be a real estate attorney. The room hushed. Linda's smirk flickered. That's irrelevant, she snapped, but I caught her unease. Actually, it's very relevant, I countered, smiling. I drafted Meadowview's original bylaws 5 years ago. A murmur rippled through the crowd, and Linda paled. She didn't know I'd uncovered her own violations or that I was about to turn the tables. That night, I dug into my old legal files, poring over the HOA charter I'd helped write for Horizon Development. Linda had been wielding my own rules against me, but she'd made a fatal mistake. She'd altered them. Comparing the original charter to her website version, I found unauthorized changes, higher fines, new fees, and stricter landscaping rules, all without community votes. Bylaw 4.2 originally allowed non-commercial gardens, but Linda's version required approvals and fees. Her hypocrisy was glaring. Her own 6-foot rose hedge violated the 4-foot limit. She'd spent $3,000 of HOA funds on her private walkway, mislabeled as community improvements. She'd raised HOA fees from $50 to $85 without the required 2/3 vote, pocketing the difference from every household. Most damning, our garden was fully legal under the original rules. Greg texted me, asking for a discreet meeting. At a coffee shop outside Meadowview, he looked drained, handing me a folder. Linda's not the woman I married, he said, voice shaking. She treats neighbors like enemies. His evidence was explosive, emails and texts showing Linda threatening Mrs. Kim over laundry, Mr. Alvarez for his unapproved greenhouse, and false noise complaints against the Carter family's kids. Most shocking were emails to property investors, where Linda schemed to lower home values to force out undesirable families for a 5% finder's fee. Her targets? Mrs. Kim, Korean American, Mr. Alvarez, Hispanic, the Carters, mixed race, and us, Latino. The pattern was chilling. Then, a revelation from my past. I co-owned 15% of Meadowview's common land, including the park Linda had improved with HOA funds. As Horizon's attorney, I'd secured those rights, giving me legal standing to challenge her. I rallied other victims. Mrs. Kim shared how Linda shamed her traditional laundry drying. Mr. Alvarez, a veteran, was livid over Linda's claim his green paint was aggressive. The Carters revealed Linda's police calls during their son's birthday, terrifying their 10-year-old. We planned a counterattack, a special HOA meeting, legally airtight. I sent certified notices, backed by 67% of resident signatures, per the charter I'd written. Linda called, furious. You can't call a meeting. I'm president. I stayed calm. Bylaw 3.1 allows it with 25% support. I have 67%. When she threatened a lawyer, I warned, your attorney might want to review the charter for your violations. She hung up, rattled. The community center was packed for the showdown. Linda sat smugly, unaware her reign was crumbling. I opened with a PowerPoint mirroring hers, titled 3 Years of HOA Violations. Photos showed her illegal hedge, receipts proved her fund misuse, and emails exposed her harassment. Greg stood, voice trembling but firm, revealing her investor scheme. Mrs. Kim, Mr. Alvarez, and Mrs. Carter shared their pain, igniting outrage. My final slide displayed Linda's email. I need you to decrease property values for the Torres property and others for a 5% fee. The room erupted. She was stealing our homes, someone yelled. Linda's defense was frantic. This is a conspiracy. Michael's framing me. But the evidence was ironclad. Mrs. Larson, once Linda's ally, stood, ashamed. You lied to us, Linda. The vote to remove her was swift, 89% in favor. Greg served her divorce papers, saying, I can't stay with someone who hurts innocent people. Linda left, humiliated. She repaid $3,000 in misappropriated funds, plus $3,500 in penalties and fees, forcing her to sell her house and leave. I became interim HOA president, slashing fees to $40, legalizing small gardens, and mandating transparency. Meadowview healed. Mrs. Kim taught Emily gardening. Mr. Alvarez fixed our fence, and the Carter's kids played freely. Our garden became a community hub on land Linda had misused, now a symbol of unity. 6 months later, Meadowview was a local news darling, a model of cooperation. As Sophie planted carrots with Mrs. Kim, she asked, "Why was Linda so mean?" I hugged her. Some people forget communities thrive on respect, not control. We fixed it by standing together. Meadowview's new sign read, "Where everyone belongs." Linda's war had united us, proving truth and compassion outlast any bully.